real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Gwynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
My name is Hunter Kane, and I'm talking with you for a call to action for our veterans in Clark County. Who is Hunter Kane? Well, I'm a decorated combat veteran community leader, and candidate for Clark County Commission. Do you know no veteran has served on the commission in nearly 30 years, which is why our veteran homelessness, unemployment, and suicide rates are out of control. So here's the call to action. June 11th, vote veteran, vote Kane for Clark County. Let's rally behind someone who's been in the trenches, who knows the sacrifices, and who's committed to making a real difference. Join the campaign by searching Elect Hunter Kane on social media or go to www.electhunterkane.com.
Care for maintenance, you'll have a team of professionals at your service. Every one of our technicians has been factory trained and master status certified to ensure that you receive the highest quality and most effective service. Star Auto Care is located at 3540 East Tropicana Avenue, just east of Pecos. Star Auto Care is confident in their prices and will match any mechanic located within 20 miles. Bring your vehicle in today and let Star Auto Care give you the peace of mind you deserve when you service your car. Visit them online at starautocare.us.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always nice to take a deep breath and take a few steps away from the craziness that is the political world. That is for sure. And you know, when I started in radio, I wasn't doing politics. I wasn't really covering politics. I was in tune with it and I watched it, but up until the last maybe 7 or 8 years is when I really did a lot of politics. But at heart, I started doing sports talk radio. And my passion is still basketball. I love going to Knights games. Tough loss yesterday for the Knights. I love going to Raiders games. I'm going to be going to an Ignite game this weekend. Paul McKeskey, who played in the NBA for 12 years, he coached for 20 years. He's going to be in studio tomorrow. Excuse me. So I love talking sports, particularly local sports and the teams that I cover. And I also remember, because I'm very old now, I'm 43 years old. It's very, very sad. But I remember back in the day when I was 18 years old and I didn't have a care in the world, and I had an opportunity to be the play-by-play man for my college basketball team, which is Central Connecticut State University, a little Division I college basketball team, and I was having the time of my life. I miss it very badly. And the guy we have with us in studio right now does play-by-play for college at UNLV. His name is Jordyn Rivera, and I said, let's come in, let's talk a little UNLV hoops, since March Madness is right around the corner, and there's plenty to talk about. And we have some mutual friends, and Jordyn, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. It really is.
Honor to have you in. What does it feel like to be I'm just curious, before we get to the basketball, an 18-year-old kid living in Las Vegas? Like, I moved here in my early 20s. You're not 21. Like, what do you do in Vegas when you're 18? I'm curious.
So yeah, it's funny. I mean, I've been here all my life. So
Yeah.
I'm born and raised here. So, I mean, you know, you go to the strip. Like, I've probably in the past 4 years, I've probably been to the strip like twice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not much to do except walk around. I mean, back in high school, we used to mess around, do stupid stuff on the strip. You know,
I still do that.
Yeah, you have to. But I mean, out here,
Yeah.
I just go to school. I work. And
You're responsible.
I
Unlike
try.
Me,
I mean, I still hang out with my boys on the weekend, but
That's
after
cool.
high school, I mean, especially in Vegas, you can't do much when you're not 21.
True. I mean, I lived in Connecticut, where I guess cow tipping was the only popular thing back when I was 18, and I didn't participate in that, by the way, so I don't want to hear from animal control people. But I had not much care in the world. I was hanging out with my high school sweetheart back in the day. You know, us going to like TGI Fridays was like a night out for us. But well, you have a passion for obviously broadcasting, right?
I love it.
And you do color for the UNLV basketball team,
Yes,
and this
sir.
is something you want to do for a living, which I think is great. It's awesome. You've got good pipes, by the way, which is great, probably better than me. So let's talk a little UNLV hoops.
Let's talk, yeah.
So I've been covering UNLV basketball for like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And when Lon Kruger was here, this is, when you were like 5 years old,
Yeah,
probably, but when
Coach.
Lon Kruger was here, UNLV had national relevance. They were winning Mountain West Conference tournaments. They were top 25 in the country consistently. They didn't pay Lon Kruger the money he wanted. He left. He went to Oklahoma. Then we got Dave Rice, former UNLV, nice guy. He was in studio here several months back. His assistants did a great job recruiting, but couldn't win games in March. Couldn't get it done. Nice guy. Nothing against Dave Rice. Love Lon Kruger. And then they hire Marvin Menzies. I say they. I call her the Joker, which is the former UNLV athletic director, Desiree Reed-Francois, who did an atrocious job when she was here. She did hire... I'd give her credit for hiring the women's basketball coach. She's done a phenomenal.
They're fantastic.
Phenomenal.
That women's basketball team's fantastic.
But then, Marvin Menzies was a huge disappointment. TJ Otzelberger, while he's doing a great job at Iowa State, he never wanted to be here. Now we have Kevin Kruger. Great guy.
Coach Kruger, we love him.
Yeah, nice guy, right? Great guy. I root for him. He's an easy guy to root for. My personal opinion, and we'll get to the Nevada game, but my personal opinion is I'm not sure he's getting the job done, and I don't think I felt like this year, and listen, he's still got time this end of this month and in March, but I feel like he really has to do something in March in order to keep his job. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, the fans will tell you that too. I mean, this is his third season here. Yeah. Still haven't got to March Madness. And the fans want that. We haven't been there in a while, and the fans want that. So he's on a short leash. I could see the way I've thought about it this season is even if we don't make the tourney this year, I do see him getting one more year, but he has to tighten up. There has been some times in plan where he is a great person, but some in-game adjustments. Sometimes he calls that timeout too late. So
I thought he got out-coached at the end of the Nevada game. I thought
that's exactly.
Alford. And listen, Steve Alford's a guy that's been around forever, right? I felt like, let's talk about that game. I felt like, you have a 9-point lead late in the game against your in-state rival. You can't lose that basketball game. But I felt like Steve Alford took some very timely timeouts, some great offensive sets. And I'm a student of the game, as I'm sure you are. Yeah. And I see the plays he's running, and it's not just your typical pick-and-roll screen at the top of the key, which is, what Kevin Kruger does with Thomas and Boone every time. It's so predictable. I said what he was going to do before it even happened. Alford, what is he doing? I saw guys setting 4 or 5 screens. I see guys cutting to the basket, and they're getting the shot that they want. It happened multiple times at the end of the game. And I think that comes down to coaching. I think UNLV has more talent than Nevada.
I 100% agree. And I do see that. Kruger, the offensive sets are kind of boring with UNLV. He has DJ Thomas. We call him DJ. Yep. He has DJ, and either Boone or Whaley set the pick, and then you kind of just dump it off in the post. There's no movement around the corners. Right. No off balls. I really don't see off balls. And when you look at Nevada, they got Lucas, great shooter.
Sure.
He's always coming. Yeah, he did. He cooled off a little bit in the second half, but he's always coming off a screen. You got Blackshear driving up.
Blackshear didn't even have a good game. No. It's like Nevada didn't even play well.
No, they didn't. And UNLV was the better team that night, which is why it sucks to have that loss. But UNR, like you said, that timeout when they were down 9 with about 2 minutes 30 left, and UNLV had all the momentum. And I said that timeout was crucial. I remember on the podcast, I was like, that's a good timeout because it slowed everything down. And right after that timeout, you could see that's when the change happened. Yeah. That's when UNLV, 4 straight possessions, it was 3 turnovers and a missed shot, and UNR scored every time down the court.
And missed free throws, too, of course. Listen, Thomas is your age, right? He's 18.
19.
Is
We're
he
both
19?
19,
okay.
yeah.
And, he misses those 2 free throws.
He's a high school senior, technically.
Yeah, and that's, listen, I'm not going to put pressure on him, and it would have been nice if he at least made 1. But Boone missing a pair of free throws with 2 minutes to go is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's a fifth-year guy.
That was unacceptable. Yeah. That can't happen. There's a lot of reasons why they lost the game. I also felt like they took the air out of the ball way too early, and you got to put the pedal to the metal. Yeah. But I look at, listen, they've had some nice wins. They beat New Mexico twice. They beat Creighton. Creighton took care of UConn last night.
Yes, so they did. I did see that.
It's a nice win for UNLV. They have some good wins this year, but I think their losses are worse.
Yeah.
You can't get thumped by 40 to Air Force on your home court. And the first game of the year was, I know that the Boone brothers weren't out there, but that Air Force loss is a head scratcher.
No, and it's weird because prior to that Air Force loss, that Utah State games, that's going to haunt them this whole season because they should have won that Utah State game. Ranked team, you got to pull that out. And then they go Colorado State. They damn near beat Colorado State, and then just to come out so flat against Air Force, one of maybe bottom 5 team in the conference. I mean, Air Force plays that game where if they're hot, they go, but they just looked so flat that night. Turnovers, they looked sloppy.
So here's my opinion. First of all, I think Harper is a very good, capable athletic director. I like him very much. Arroyo was a complete embarrassment, and another joker, Desiree Reed. I'm sorry, I keep calling her the Joker because she looks like the Joker. But the hire of Marcus Arroyo was an embarrassment. That guy was not only a terrible head coach, but he was terrible with the media, terrible with the community. And then what does Eric Harper do? He does what he was supposed to do, and I appreciate that. He fired Arroyo, and he hired a really good head coach. This guy, Odom, has done a phenomenal job in turning the program around pretty much immediately and setting the tone. I give Harper a lot of credit for that. I give Odom and his coaching staff and the players a lot of credit. So Harper has proven that he's a guy that's willing to pull the trigger and get somebody else in. Kevin Kruger was not Eric Harper's hire. Here's what I think needs to be done here in the next month. And I have no pleasure in saying this because, as you said and I said, Kevin's a really good guy. I really like him a lot personally. Wonderful family, legendary father. I want Kevin to stay here, and I want it to work out. But it's my job to be honest on this show, which so many people, including those at the flagship station, do not do.
You have to.
Here's what I would say what Kevin needs to do in the next month. You're not going to be able to win the conference regular season. That ain't going to happen.
No.
And the loss pretty much solidified it against Nevada. I believe there are at least 5 teams that are better than UNLV. San Diego State's certainly a better team. Utah State. Those are the top 2 teams in the conference that have shoe-ins to the NCAA tournament, no matter what happens from here on out. Then I look at a team like New Mexico. UNLV beat them twice, but New Mexico has a better record. Then I look at Colorado State. Big game coming up at home Saturday. They're a top 25 team in the country, and last year they came in here and they beat UNLV. That's a better team. I just named 4 teams that are better, and of course I'm leaving out Nevada. On paper, Nevada should not be a better team, but they are, and Alfred has done a phenomenal job with this team. I just named 5 teams, that are better, and I might be missing some teams. Boise State, I didn't even name them.
Boise.
They're right there with Boise State. Boise State, I think, has a better record. I could be wrong on that. I think it's close. Everyone's kind of clumped together. If Kevin Kruger is in the playing game of the Mountain West Conference tournament, to me, that's okay. We got to move on. Unless Kevin gets an invite, they're not going to get an invite to the NCAA tournament unless they win the conference tournament. Unless they get an invite to at least the NIT, I think you have to find somebody else. And it doesn't bring me any pleasure in saying that because, as I said, I like Kevin a lot. Would you agree with that? What do you think he needs to do over the course of the next month?
Honestly, I do agree with you, and it is sad because Kevin is a great guy. But I mean, at the end of the day, being a coach, running a college organization, professional, whatever level you are, it's not about being a great guy. It's about winning. It's about getting to the big stage and getting your players national recognition. And if you can't do that, and like you said, it wasn't Harper's hire, and Harper's been doing a great job. So I think, at some point you do have to pull the trigger. And with the teams, I think UNLV they have top 5 talent. I think if you look at their roster fully healthy, they have the talent to go toe-to-toe, and they've proved it. They're flat out. Utah State has more talent. Utah State.
You can make the argument that UNLV has just as much talent as almost anybody in the conference. I agree with you.
I agree, and I think they could go toe-to-toe with any given team on any given night.
Coaching.
And it's all about coaching because that Air Force game, and even I remember I was in the post-game presser, and we were talking to Rob Whaley and Keelan Boone. And
why did Rob Whaley not touch the ball the final 5 minutes of the game the other night? He had a good game, and what the hell? Why are you not giving the ball to Whaley? I mean,
that's your best post.
I don't understand.
That's your best post player.
Yeah, I don't.
You
understand.
gotta, and I. It's so funny. It's funny. It's great to talk to someone about this because I said on the broadcast I was like, I think there was a timeout called when they were losing a bit of momentum, maybe with a minute 30. And I said, I'd love to see Coach Kruger draw up a play for Rob Whaley, try to get a mismatch. Because, dude, I love Rob Whaley.
That's what Nevada did.
Yeah.
You remember that set that Nevada had, the go-ahead bucket, where they got the ball to I'm trying to remember his name, but the small forward who did not have a really good game, but they a strong cut, several screens, and they get the ball to him because it was a mismatch, and he had basically almost an uncontested layup.
I think it was Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson.
I
And it
think
was a
Davidson.
set play that Alfred ran.
Yeah.
And you're putting so much pressure on Thomas when it's the same, put the ball in his hands, let him create, pick and roll, and it's frustrating. So I'm with you on that. Listen, the Boone brothers are going to be playing professional basketball somewhere. I don't think they're NBA players, but they're going to be playing professional basketball somewhere. We all know how good Thomas is. He's only a freshman. He has a chance to be an NBA player.
No, Thomas is
so
a
that's
fantastic
That's
player.
3 guys. I could also look at, and Rodriguez has not had some good games, but I could see him playing overseas somewhere.
Yeah.
That's 4 guys. And you look at Whaley. Who has really played well the last month or so. Top to bottom, they have a pretty darn good roster.
Whaley's good. Whaley's an undersized 4, obviously.
Good
but
post moves.
I think he could. I think he could definitely play overseas. Maybe get in the G League.
Yep.
I think he could play in the G League. Great post moves. He's a fantastic post player.
Yeah,
but
like
you
that's
were
the point. I mean, it's like you have a lot of talent on this team, and it's unfortunate. Let me ask you this. This is a criticism that I've had for UNLV students, not you. But no matter how bad or good a team is, I don't think there's an excuse for students not to show up. Now, the crowd, Nevada was great. Fantastic crowd, okay? Loud crowd. The students showed up. I give them credit.
Yeah.
But when I look at these Air Force games and these Colorado State games and these Boise games and San Diego State, even San Jose State and San Diego State, forget about the fans that have to pay money. I'm talking about the students.
Yeah.
The students just don't show up to these games. Why? You go to school there. Why?
Oh, dude, it sucks because like you said, that UNR game, Thomas and Mac was packed, and it was like actually it was amazing to see because those fans were into the game and it helped the team for sure. And you know why? And me and my co-broadcaster Donovan were talking about this. It's because UNLV will get a packed crowd like that, and then they'll do what they did in that last 2 minutes of the game. They'll do what they did, and then the fans disappoint. And I just don't know. UNLV basketball hasn't been a hot commodity, and I don't think the students care. Like, some of the students don't care. Like, and it sucks because we get solid student turnout, I'd say. Like, that Air Force game was empty. I remember that. The Fresno game was all right.
But, like, I remember, Jordyn, I remember back in the day, Lon Kruger when they were nationally relevant. Man, the fans were great. And even Dave Rice, because we had so much NBA talent.
Yeah, we did.
The fans did show up, and the students showed up. And I understand UNLV is not a very, very good basketball team, but I just don't think there's an excuse for the students not to show up, especially on a weekend. It's like, what else do you have to do?
No.
I get it. There's a lot of other options in town, but I don't see a lot of UNLV students forking up $300-400 to go to a Vegas Golden Knights game or a Raiders game or whatever. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, I just love sports, so, and I get it. Like, I just love watching sports, so, I mean, doing what I get to do and talking, obviously. But it is a free ticket, and I think that's what it's all about. Like, our student section is tiny, and I bet you go look at different teams. I bet you go uptown, UNR, their student section isn't tiny.
Crazy.
Their student section isn't tiny.
Well, they also don't have a former athletic director like we had that offered students free tacos, thinking that would lure students in, give them a couple $1 tacos. I mean, that was just Desiree Reed-Francois. I'm sorry. I'm just, as you can probably tell, I wasn't a big fan. I like Harper. I think he's a good dude. But it's really hard to get students to games, especially when they're not winning.
No, yeah. I mean, when they're not winning. And honestly, as a student on campus, I feel like it's not particularly like advertised. It's not particularly like
maybe they don't promote it enough.
You know what I mean? I think they could do a better job with that, but that's like not even athletic director. That's like school top guys. But I don't know. I think maybe on social be more. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not putting out a product that students want to watch, they're not going to come.
Right, I agree with you. So obviously, we're both rooting for Kevin. We want him to succeed. I definitely do, and we want him to win. But if it doesn't work out and Eric Harper lets Kevin go, I've named some coaches that I think would be perfect for the job, and some people might disagree with me on this. I go with somebody like Jay Wright, and that would be a slam dunk because Jay Wright's been retired.
100%.
I've interviewed him. He's interviewed for the basketball job here before. He loves Las Vegas. Wouldn't be a lot of pressure on him, rebuild. I just think that would be, if he's interested, that would be a slam dunk hire.
100%.
I look at somebody controversial like a Bobby Huggins, and I know that he's had his issues with DUI, but he's a huge name.
Yeah.
He's a great basketball coach. And I think we need a little controversy here again. We don't want
might.
So I think Bobby Huggins would probably be interested in the job. A personal friend of mine and a guy that was a national college basketball coach of the year. He's an assistant with Boise State right now, and that's Larry Eustace. Guy's brought 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. He coached Colorado State not that long ago and did a good job there. I know Larry would take the job in a heartbeat. Those are 3 really solid guys. I'm tired of the young up-and-coming coach, and I'm for UNLV to hire a guy that's been around a while that can turn this program around.
And I agree with you. I think especially here, you're bringing 18-year-olds to Las Vegas. You want to recruit them. I think you need a solid, experienced leader that knows how to lead them and knows how not only how to get their play right on the court, but to get their head right. And there's the classroom, get their head right in the film room, on the practice court.
Sure.
And like you said, Jay Wright, that would be home run if we could.
No question. And I look at a guy like Odom, right? And the guy was in a really tough conference, and he won half his games. You ask me, that's an accomplishment. And it's just the way he is with the media. And by the way, Kevin's great with the media, too. I'm not going to criticize.
100%.
Kevin does really good with the media as well. I'm not criticizing him for that. But one thing I remember the first time I interviewed Odom, and this was way before the season started. And he had told me he had been to already 20 local high schools recruiting in the first 2 weeks that he had been here on the job. And I said right away, and I said it on the air, I said, this guy's going to turn this around. Now, I didn't think he would turn it around this fast, but I said, I think this is a good hire.
Yeah.
And I think this guy's going to turn it around. He appreciates the media coverage. He appreciates the fan support. The players seem to love him. Yeah. I know players that I've had conversations with off the air that did not like playing for Coach Arroyo. They said he was aloof.
Yeah.
And Odom, it's the opposite. They play hard for him. They love him. They know that he's got their back. And the play calling is good.
Yeah.
Now, it sucks that they lost their last several games of the year, but even to get to that point, to be in a conference championship game and then a bowl game, you'd like to win one of those games, maybe both. But the fact that he just got there in year 1, to me, I said he's got to be a candidate for National Coach of the Year.
No, it was great. It was great to see. And especially, I mean, UNLV, that football program's been atrocious.
They've been
for
really bad.
so long.
And now they're relevant.
Even when I was like, me and my dad, we followed UNLV sports for a long time, and I can't even put my mind on it the last time I experienced a winning season from them, and like I really can't.
It was fun, right? It was fun.
It was fun. It was really good to see them get a bowl game, and they got blown out. But I mean, that Kansas team was good. That's a good Kansas team they played. But no, I think Odom done a great job, especially the local recruiting. But Odom was a home run hire for
LaRock. And the one thing Desiree Reed-Francois did well, besides being very well dressed, was that she hired LaRock, who has really turned the UNLV women's program around.
That UNLV,
they're nationally relevant, and I'll give her credit for that. LaRock has done a phenomenal job, and I don't think that helps Kevin's cause any. Give out your contact. Since we gotta bring this to a wrap. This segment's gone by fast, but I appreciate you being here, Jordyn.
It was fun.
Give out your social medias. How can people follow you and follow you on social media and listen to your broadcasts?
So my name is Jordyn Rivera. That's the Instagram, spelled with a Y. My mom spelled it a little weird. Jordyn. Last name Rivera, Rivera. And you can listen to our broadcast. It's the Scarlet and Gray YouTube channel. We do a live stream every home game. And just come in and tune in. If you don't have time to go to the game, it's always fun. Me and my play-by-play guy, we sometimes switch off, but he does really good, and we keep you well informed. It's entertaining. We get hype. We get off the seats, especially that UNR game. We were getting pretty hype. It was a fun game to do. I wish we would have won it. But
it was a good basketball game. Just unfortunate the way UNLV lost. I'll tell you what, the Mountain West Conference tournament's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be. I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for that.
Good basketball, some good teams, and as I always tell people, if you're going to have any sort of success in this business, you have to have a passion, and certainly you do.
Yeah.
And covering sports for a living was always fun for me.
Yeah.
Now I just have to cover politics too, and that's not always as much fun. But we'll definitely have you in again.
I look forward to it. It was really fun.
I appreciate you being here, Jordyn, and we wish Kevin Kruger good luck, and we will see what happens here.
Yeah,
we'll see
they're a talented team. I think they're going to do. I think if everything goes right, they could make a run.
You going to the game this weekend?
Yes, sir.
That's going to be a big one against Colorado State.
Yes, sir.
Could be a big bounce back game for them. And of course, they're on the road against Air Force tonight. Jordyn Rivera, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate all of our listeners That's a wrap, folks. We're going to take a 22-hour break. We will see you tomorrow. For you sports fans out there, former NBA player Paul McKeskey will be joining us in the studio. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.